Noah Carson had always believed that success was built on two things: hard work and honesty. Growing up in the small town of Crestwood, he watched his father fix broken engines in their dusty garage and his mother serve coffee to regulars who sometimes couldn't pay for their meals. Their quiet integrity shaped him. When his parents said something, they meant it, and when they made a promise, they kept it. Noah carried those lessons into adulthood like a compass guiding his every move. Years later, he poured his heart and soul into Carson Heavy Haulers, a truck dealership that he started from scratch. He was just a young man back then, with nothing but a loan from the bank, a single truck on a gravel lot, and a battered trailer for an office. But he was determined. He believed if he treated people fairly and stood by his word, success would come, and it did. Carson Heavy Haulers became the pride of Crestwood. Customers came from towns miles away because they trusted him. If Noah Carson told you a truck was reliable, you believed it. If he promised you a fair deal, he delivered. For over 15 years, Noah was more than just a businessman. He was a man people respected. But over time, something changed, and Noah couldn't ignore it anymore. The first signs of trouble. The numbers on paper looked better than ever. Sales were up. Profits were climbing. His lot was filled with gleaming trucks, and his showroom bustled with customers. But Noah noticed a troubling undercurrent. The phone calls were different. Some old customers who used to sing his praises now sounded disappointed, even bitter. Reviews started appearing online, reviews that cut deeper than he cared to admit. Some customers still spoke of excellent service and quality vehicles, but others warned of hidden fees, misleading deals, and pushy salesmen who didn't care about anything but closing the sale. Noah found it hard to believe. After all, he had hired good people, trained them himself, and his sales manager, Mark Simmons, was someone Noah had trusted for nearly a decade. Still, something didn't sit right. The more he thought about it, the more convinced he became that he needed to see the truth for himself. Going undercover. Noah had never been a man to sit behind a desk and bark orders. If there was something wrong, he was going to roll up his sleeves and find out. So he came up with a plan. He would go undercover, posing as an ordinary customer. No one would recognize him if he did it right. He dressed in a pair of old jeans, scuffed work boots, and a faded flannel shirt. He tossed on a Detroit Lions baseball cap, one he hadn't worn in years. He left his expensive watch in the drawer and slid behind the wheel of his old 1998 Ford F-150, the same truck he used to haul his first load of inventory. It rattled a little when it started, but he smiled. It had never let him down. Noah gave himself a new name, Jack Morris. Jack was a construction foreman, a guy looking to buy a tough, reliable work truck. He rehearsed his backstory until it felt natural. As he drove toward his own dealership, Noah felt a strange tightness in his chest. Carson Heavy Haulers had always been his pride and joy. Today, it felt like something else entirely. Something he wasn't sure he could recognize. The lot that felt different. At first glance, everything looked the same. Rows of pristine trucks lined up neatly along the lot, flags flapping in the breeze. The showroom windows gleamed in the afternoon sun. But as Jack, stepped out of his truck, he noticed something subtle. The energy was different, more mechanical, less welcoming. He walked into the showroom and was greeted by a young salesman who moved with the smooth confidence of someone who had done this many times before. "Welcome to Carson Heavy Haulers," the man said with a practiced grin. "I'm Dylan. What brings you in today?" Noah offered a nod, adjusting the brim of his cap. "Name's Jack," he said, "looking for a solid work truck. Something that can handle the kind of punishment a construction site dishes out." Dylan's eyes gleamed. "You've come to the right place. We got just what you need. What kind of budget are you working with?" "Got about 40 grand, Noah replied. "Looking to buy, not lease." Dylan's grin widened as he motioned for Noah to follow him toward a black 2500 HD pickup parked near the front of the lot. The red flags multiplied. "This baby's a beast," Dylan said, patting the hood. "Heavy-duty tow package. All the bells and whistles. And it comes with our Carson Platinum Protection Plan, standard." Noah's brows rose slightly beneath the brim of his cap. The protection plan was supposed to be optional, never standard, and certainly not bundled into the price without disclosure. He kept his expression neutral, but made a mental note. Mind if I take a look under the hood? Noah asked. Be my guest, Dylan replied. But as Noah lifted the hood, he noticed Dylan glancing toward the glass office across the showroom floor. Mark Simmons stood there, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Watching. Waiting. It sent a chill through Noah. Mark had always been sharp, but now his gaze felt predatory, like a vulture watching his territory. The price goes up. After a short test drive, Noah followed Dylan back to his desk. The salesman tapped away on his tablet, inputting figures, his smile tightening ever so slightly. Base price is $42,000, Dylan said. With a platinum protection plan and processing fees, you're looking at $47,500. Noah leaned forward slightly. $2,000 in processing fees. Dylan hesitated, then rattled off something about paperwork, dealership costs, and expedited services. It was all nonsense, of course. Noah knew it, and Dylan likely knew that he knew it. But the salesman pushed on. Before Noah could press him further, he heard a heated exchange a few feet away. A customer at their breaking point. A delivery driver in a stained uniform was arguing with another salesman. His voice trembled with frustration. I'm telling you, the man said. My wife and I saved for 2 years. You told us this was the final price. We can't afford another $3,000. Mark Simmons stepped in. Smooth. Cold. Mr. Ramirez, Mark said, the fees are clearly outlined. If you can't complete the payment, we'll have to cancel the deal. Your deposit is non-refundable. Noah watched the man's shoulders slump in defeat. His hands fell to his sides. The fight drained out of him. And in that moment, Noah's heart broke. This wasn't what he had built. This wasn't the dream he had poured his life into. This was something rotten. Pulling off the mask, Noah stood abruptly, leaving Dylan at his desk, and walked straight toward Mark's office. He opened the door without knocking and closed it firmly behind him. Mark glanced up, confused at first. Then his expression shifted as he recognized the man standing in front of him. Noah, Mark said slowly. Noah pulled the cap from his head. I've been here all day, he said quietly. I've heard everything. He took out his phone and played back the recordings. Dylan's false promises. Mark's manipulation. Ramirez's pleas. It was all there. Mark's face turned ghostly pale. You're done, Noah said. Get out. Rebuilding the dream. Noah didn't stop there. He gathered every employee in the showroom that evening. This stops today, he told them. We're refunding every customer we wronged. Every dishonest practice ends now. If you want to stay here, you'll do things my way, the right way. At first, no one spoke. Then one by one, they did. Admissions of guilt. Promises to do better. Some left. Others stayed, grateful for a second chance. Noah rolled up his sleeves and worked harder than he had in years. He called every customer who had been overcharged. He offered refunds and apologies. He rewrote the dealership's policies from top to bottom. Transparent pricing. No hidden fees. Full disclosure paperwork. No sale was finalized without complete customer satisfaction. Slowly, the trust returned. Redemption on a rainy day. One stormy afternoon, Mr. Ramirez walked back into Carson Heavy Haulers. He carried an envelope of paperwork under one arm, but looked hesitant, unsure. Noah greeted him with a handshake. I've got something for you, he said. He handed Ramirez the keys to the truck he had wanted, at the price he had been promised from the start. Ramirez's eyes filled with tears. You're giving me more than a truck, he said softly. You're giving me back my faith. Noah smiled. That's the deal we make around here. A legacy restored. Word of Noah Carson's comeback spread far beyond Crestwood. People shared his story. News outlets picked it up. Carson Heavy Haulers became a symbol of redemption, a business reborn through integrity and courage. Noah had fallen, but he got back up, and he rebuilt everything on the foundation that mattered most: trust. The moral of the story: integrity isn't optional. It's the foundation of everything worth building. Success without honesty is hollow, and while doing the right thing is often hard, it's always worth it in the end. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Stories like this remind us of the power of kindness, courage, and standing up for what's right. If this story inspired you, moved you, or made you think, let us know in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from, and share this story with someone who needs it today. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We've got more stories like this coming your way. Until next time, remember, kindness changes lives. See you soon.